Hello, hello, hello. I just wanted to spend a few moments talking to my single ladies. I'm single. I have never been married. Um, it's just so far it hasn't happened. But I'm like certain, I know a lot of the older you get, I think you just start to kind of maybe sometimes you get a little bit anxious as a woman because especially if you want to have children and you start thinking, I gotta do something. I gotta get married. I'm supposed to be married. I'm trying to do it the way God wants me to do it. I'm trying to have my husband. I'm trying to have my kids and blah blah blah. And I think, living like that is very stressful, in my opinion. So I choose not to. What I've always done is I look at things intentionally, I look at them differently. And I say that because, even the relationships that I've been in, if they didn't work, I spend time learning the lesson from the relationship. And also, okay, well, what did I do that I could have done differently? Was it necessary that I handled it this way? Or, and even to the point where it's made me realize the things that I want. Because sometimes you don't know you're not okay with certain situations until you get in those situations. And then you say, well, wait a minute now. This is not what I thought it was. And so I've learned a lot of lessons from them. I've learned about myself. I've learned about other people. I've learned what I want, what I like, what I don't like. And I have peace with that. What we can't do as women, you can't just settle. You can't settle. One of the things that I've always prayed, I've always asked the Lord not to let me fall into the hands of the wrong person, because your relationship, like getting married, that's a big deal. If you're gonna take it seriously, that's a big deal. You can't just up and just marry somebody because he's cute or because you're running out of time or because he got a job. I hear that all the time. Well, he at least he got a job, but how does he treat you? What does he think about, you as a person, as a woman of God? If you were to get sick, do you see him as the type of person that's going to ride it out with you? Or is he that type of guy who's going to vanish into the wind? So I look at everything. And that's why the relationships that I've had that didn't work, I've been at peace with them, because apparently I looked at them and said, I don't feel safe with you. I just cannot bring myself to fall into a set of unmerciful hands. Because a lot of guys, honestly, they have like this, especially Christians. I'm sorry, I'm a Christian, but I'm just gonna take my chance. They have like the part down for us to be a helpmate. You're supposed to be a helper. Well, what are you gonna be to me? You just sitting here receiving and thanking me and telling me how wonderful I am and how encouraging I am, and then nothing in you feels like you it's supposed to be some reciprocity somewhere. I'm just amazed at the number of Christian men who don't believe in reciprocity. You do realize that Adam had everything laid out in place before Eve got up on the scene, right? So it's supposed to be like give and take, not just you lean back with the remote waiting on somebody to bring you something to eat. Because you can't sustain that like for a long period of time. There's only so long you can hold up under the weight of somebody else. You'll get crushed. And even one of my students said something that I really could appreciate. She's 16. She says, even in friendships, she said you can't have a friendship where one person's doing everything, because that's more like a teacher-student relationship. She said it has to be give and take. You have to have two people who are looking out for each other, because she was giving me her definition of a friendship. So if we can see that with a friendship, we should be able to see that in mature adult relationships, that if you're saying thank you a lot more than you're saying you're welcome, or you're saying you're welcome a lot more than you're saying thank you, there may be a bit of imbalance. And just because somebody doesn't say anything directly to you doesn't mean they don't mind. I generally don't ever say anything, but I mind. I mind. And even my last relationship, that's why I knew. I said this at the moment. It wasn't good for me, and I had to sit down and just ask myself the same questions that I ask young ladies. Are you okay? And I had to ask myself that, and I had to be honest and say, no, I'm not okay. And so the next question that I asked myself was, are you okay not being okay? Like, if this situation never changes, could you stay here? Now, if you're married, you're in a totally different situation, but I'm not married, and I'm really talking to the single ladies right now. If you're in a relationship and that relationship stays exactly the way it is, are you okay with that? Because if you are okay with it, ride it out, but don't complain about it and don't try to make them change, because what you're saying is, even though I don't like this little raggedy situation I'm in, I'll stay in it. So far, I haven't been able to do that. If I had been able to do that, I'm sure I would be married by now. But I don't see the point. I don't see the point, because life is very interesting, and the tables can turn at any moment. And what you need to see when you're dating somebody, you need to see a willingness to come through for you. Like my last relationship, I never saw that. I never saw a willingness for him to make adjustments that included me. I never saw a willingness to be available. I never saw, a willingness for him to, just include me, or involve me. So since I didn't even see that part of him that was willing to do it, it registered to me that he was not going to do it. Because you have really a short window of time with me to show me what you're made out of. Because who you are always shows up. It shows up very soon. We just ignore it. So if you're dealing with somebody and he just doesn't like telling the truth, or if he twists up his stories, or he says things like, well, I thought I told you, and blows it off, or he's standing you up, or he's late. He's kind of showing you how he sees you, and that you're not a priority to him, and that he's giving himself permission not to do right by you. And what you don't need is somebody who's giving himself permission not to do right by you. Not in a relationship, because you kind of need somebody that says, the same way I do right by my job, and if he has children, the same way I do right by my children, I want to do right by you. Because to me, that is a character issue, when they can look at you and decide that you're the part of their life that they don't necessarily have to get right. So what I think, we as women need to do is we need to spend a lot more time on ourselves, making sure that when God sends us the man that he has for us, that we're prepared, and that we're not constantly recovering from being injured by being in the wrong relationship. Because you don't really have a lot of time for that. Don't just jump from one relationship to the next relationship. Spend some time with yourself, because I think we pray for things and then we're not ready for them. Why would I pray for the Lord to give me a husband, but when somebody comes to my house, they have to step over all this garbage to get to my sofa? Why would I pray for the Lord to give me a family, but I don't want to cook? I can't take them to McDonald's every day, all day, and I could, but it's not a healthy situation. Why would I pray and ask the Lord to send me a husband, but I don't want to compromise? And I already said that I'm not, as a woman, going to be submissive. And I know that's a toxic word, but if the Lord sends you when the Lord's in it and he sends you a good man, you're not concerned about submitting, because he's going to do right by you. So I think we got to make some adjustments, and we have to do some things, because even, like I said, my last relationship, I think he wanted to be in a relationship with me. He just didn't make the necessary adjustments to include me in his life. And it just gets old. If you bench me long enough, I'm going to start trying to play for another team. So it is what it is. And I'll tell anybody, you all, I just, I don't know what it's like to spend months and weeks and years crying because some guy didn't do right by me. I can, it can almost be like you never happened. I don't know, maybe something wrong with me. Y'all pray for me, cause it can be like you never happened. Like I could see you out 2 weeks later, and it could be like you never happened. Because my perspective is this, you know, I value myself as a woman, as a woman of God, as a woman, and I carry myself a certain way. So I value myself. It is not my problem if you didn't value me. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time dealing with that. If you saw no value in me, that is a choice that you made, and I'm not going to force you to value me. What I can do is remove myself from situations where someone has repeatedly shown me that they don't really see my worth, and in order for you to do that, you have to see your own worth. So remember that, we were the gift. God gave the woman to the man as the gift. And usually when people get a gift, it's something that matters to them. Like they're excited about it, they're happy about it, they're appreciative of it. So if you're in a relationship and that person doesn't, I'm not saying that they have to say thank you all day, every day, but if they just don't appreciate you being there, you probably need to kind of check to see if that's where you're supposed to be. Because I believe, y'all, that somebody out there somewhere will do right by me and will want to be with me and will appreciate the gift that they see in me. And if it wasn't the one before, then so be it. But somebody somewhere will, and that's what you want. That's what you want. So wait, be patient, be productive, get yourselves together. If there's something that you want to learn how to do, learn how to do it. Like right now, I'm taking guitar lessons. Yes, I'm taking guitar lessons. So when I get on here and start playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, all I want is this. All I want. But it's something that I did a few years ago and I just stopped practicing. So I wanted to get, better at it. It is what it is. Find something productive to do with your time besides acting like you won't show up on the scene, or you won't have value, or you won't be okay until you get married. It'll happen, but don't miss out on the quality of life that you have now, waiting on it to happen. It'll come. Just be patient. But God bless you all, and I will see you all next video.